All right, so there's this quiet revolution going on in banking. And no, it's not about Wall Street or some complex new trading algorithm. It's happening in the wallets of everyday people, and it's being led by a company that, isn't even technically a bank.
The whole story really starts right here, with what we call mainstream America. We're talking about almost 200 million adults, folks earning up to about 100 grand a year. These are the people who are the absolute engine of the economy. But for the longest time, they've been kind of ignored by the big banks. You see, for the giant traditional banks, this huge group of people is often, believe it or not, unprofitable to serve. It's wild, but one of the biggest bank CEOs in the country actually admitted that they lose money on most of their accounts. Think about that. When your main customer is a money loser for you, something is just broken.
And this is a really important point. You might think a company like Chime is for people who don't have a bank account at all. But that's not it. They serve the unhappily banked. A whopping 90% of their members already had a bank. They were just fed up and looking for something, anything, better. So right into this gap comes Chime, and they don't show up looking like a bank, with the marble floors and the long queues. They show up as a tech company, and they have one simple mission: help regular people get ahead financially. To do that, they had to build the whole thing from a completely different blueprint.
And this right here is one of their biggest secrets. A traditional bank, it's like a giant cargo ship. It's powerful, sure, but it's slow, super expensive to operate, and takes forever to turn. Chime built itself to be a speedboat. It's lean, it's all digital, it's fast. And because of that, their cost to serve a customer is 3 to 5 times lower than the old guard.
Now, the engine inside that speedboat is their own secret weapon, something called Chime Core. See, instead of renting the same old clunky systems that big banks use, Chime just built their own payment processor from scratch. This gives them total control and makes them incredibly efficient. And the result of that move? It was huge. By bringing their tech in-house with Chime Core, they slashed their processing costs by more than half. That's an enormous amount of money that they can now give back to their customers in the form of better features and lower fees.
Okay, so all this cool tech and efficiency is great for Chime's bottom line, but what does it actually mean for you? For the average person, how does that lean, mean speedboat actually make your life better?
Well, for starters, it means this: zero, as in $0 in overdraft fees. Because Chime doesn't have to scrape by charging you annoying fees, they can offer things like SpotMe, which is basically fee-free overdraft. For the 2/3 of Americans living paycheck to paycheck, that is an absolute game changer. It also means this: they can give you a high-yield savings account that pays an interest rate 8 times the national average. It's simple, really. When your costs are way lower than your competitors, you can pass those savings right back to the people who matter, your members.
And because the value is so obvious, so powerful, people are voting with their paychecks. Chime is now the #1 company that folks earning up to $100,000 a year are switching their direct deposit to. They are winning the most important relationship in banking, the primary account. And we're not talking about a casual relationship here. Once people make Chime their main bank, they are all in. The average member uses Chime 55 times a month. That's almost twice a day. They are literally running their entire financial lives on this app. Okay, but hang on. All this amazing growth leads to a new, pretty massive problem. When you have millions of new customers joining, how in the world do you give them great support without your costs just exploding? How do you keep the speedboat from sinking under the weight of all the new passengers?
And the answer, yet again, comes back to tech. You use generative AI to build what's basically an army of super smart, super efficient virtual agents who can solve problems 24/7.
And the results are just staggering. By using AI chatbots, voice bots, and even tools that help with really complex stuff like disputes, Chime has cut the amount of time a human agent needs to spend on an issue in half. That is just a massive leap in efficiency.
And that efficiency means they can do something that's almost impossible for a fast-growing company. They can keep their number of employees pretty much flat over the next year, even while they're adding millions of new members. That is how you build a profitable business at scale.
And you can see right here that the whole model is working beautifully. In just one quarter, they pulled in $544 million in revenue, which is up 29% from the year before. That speedboat isn't just fast anymore, it's turning into a real financial powerhouse.
When you kind of zoom out and look at the big picture, you realize we've seen this movie before. This is the classic disruptor's playbook. It's exactly what Netflix did to entertainment, right? They used a better cost model and new technology to go after a massive, underserved market. Chime is just doing it for banking.
So that leaves us with the big question. Is this the Netflix of banking? Is this the Uber of transportation happening all over again? Chime is betting everything that the answer is yes. And so far, millions of customers who are finally happily banked seem to agree with them.